Okay. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, from wherever anyone and everyone is hearing me from. Can we all hear me, Claire?
I can hear
Everybody
you.
can
Can
hear
you?
me? Great.
Outstanding.
I don't know if Dr. David is here. Dr. David, my name is Oluwatoyin Akinlade, and myself and Dr. David are going to be co-chair for today's event. I saw him some minutes ago, but I can't see him now, but that's okay. Today we have the privilege of having someone important. We're glad you took the, um, you know, you responded to when we called you. We want to say welcome to everyone from all over. I see people from Ireland. I see people from Nigeria, United States. And even if I'm not calling where you're from, Sierra Leone, I say welcome everybody. Thank you so much for taking our time to come listen to our speaker today. I am glad, and I want to say thank you also to Mr. DeJuan. I'm telling you, I had to practice how to say the name. I'm like, I want to dazzle him. I want him to think I know how to say the name. So I'm glad that you accepted to come teach us some things today. It's something I've been wanting to know, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a co-chair. Dr. David is not here, but if you hear Dr. David, can you say one or two words before we continue? Dr. David? Okay, so for everybody that doesn't know, I'm going to be doing a brief introduction of our speaker today. And our speaker today, just like I said, is Mr. DeJuan Kennedy. He has a MBA, he has MSIAC, CISM, CISSP, CCISO. He's also the Director of Information Security and Director of Information Security at the Community Health Center Incorporation. He's also the Chief Executive Officer, Caterio Security Incorporation, and he has vast knowledge about cybersecurity and all of it. He's also a Navy veteran. Thank you so much for your service, sir. He's
Thank you.
from Greater Orlando, USA. It's a great honor today that I have in welcoming you to our midst, Mr. DeJuan.
Thank you for your support. I appreciate that. And it's an honor to be here. And easy to remember my name, just the one and only. There are no others. I'm the only one. So just think about it
Oh,
that. There you go.
great.
No
Great.
narcissism. But so
Okay, so I want to ask everyone, please, if you have any question in the course of him presenting today and you think you're going to forget, you can drop it in the comment box. Once he's done with the presentation, we're going to go back and read all those questions. And then if we have all the time, he's going to answer them. If not, you can send all your questions again to either the TORG WhatsApp group, and then we're going to find a way to get it to you so he answers your question. And I don't see Dr. David still here, so I'm going to continue. Dr. David, are you here? I also want to ask us all to please mute yourselves. If we're not talking, please get yourself muted so that we can go smoothly with this program today. Okay, Dr. David is not here, so I will be doing the honor of reading our speaker today. I'll be doing the honor of reading his bio. And this is Mr. DeJuan Kennedy. He's an accomplished cybersecurity executive with 2 decades of experience in protecting digital infrastructure and advancing information security within healthcare systems. He currently serves as the Director of Information Security at Community Health Center Incorporation, and he's also the founder of CEO Cateria Security Incorporation, which is the firm that provides comprehensive cybersecurity solutions to small and medium-sized businesses. He holds multiple elite certification, includes CCISO, CISSP, CISM, and Cisco CCNP and CCDP. Mr. Kennedy is widely recognized for his expertise in aligning cybersecurity with clinical and operational priorities to safeguard patients' data, ensure regulatory compliance, and foster innovation in healthcare technology. He's a U.S. Navy veteran, a dedicated instructor. He continues to mentor professional and organizations in developing resilient cybersecurity strategies. Today, as we all know, he will be the one that is going to be speaking to us about topics, cyber threats in the operating room, evolving risks, and how to safeguard surgical technology. And it's going to be my great honor, everybody, to welcome again Mr. DeJuan as he's going to give us the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the great introduction. And I will endeavor to live up to all of those words that you said in the letters, in the certifications. Greetings, everyone. Again, my name is DeJuan Kennedy, and I'm going to get ready to share my screen with you right now so we can start the fun. Give me one moment. Okay, we're just going to go for verification. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, and this is the one that says Little Red Skywalker, correct?
Yes.
Outstanding. Okay, everyone. Again, as mentioned earlier, my name is DeJuan, and I just want to go ahead and welcome you. As mentioned, I am the founder of Carterea's Consulting. And today we're going to journey through the digital forest of the modern operating room. We're going to explore how cybersecurity and patient safety have both become one and the same. Now, with this unique title, Little Red Skywalker, right? So, for all of those who are diehard Star Wars fans, I nod my hat to you for Skywalker, and then Little Red Riding Hood because I wanted to, that holds dear to my heart. So I wanted to combine the two. And basically, we're going to be taking a journey through this digital forest, right? And we're going to explore how cyber threats in the operating room and addressing how those evolving risks and how to safeguard our surgical technology. Now, this session isn't just about threats and technology. It's going to be mainly focused also about vigilance, teamwork, and the choices that we make to keep our patients safe. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start to step down into this forest together, which is the modern operating room, where every device, every monitor, every heartbeat now lives in the digital realm. Right now, we have the modern operating room. This is where we enter the forest. The OR, the operating room, has evolved from isolation to being one of interconnectivity. It has become a transformation that brings both precision and peril. The operating room as was once an island, but now it is no longer isolated, it is no longer self-contained, and it is no longer analog. Today, it is part of a vast digital ecosystem. And every machine that we have now talks, anesthesia systems, pumps, monitors, robotic devices, imaging consoles. Each one of these devices are sharing data across the network. That connectivity has made surgeries faster, safer, and even more precise. But it has also opened new pathways for attack. So can everyone see the screen right now that has the four icons on it that says once isolated, the OR is now a network ecosystem? Yeah,
Yes.
I have several monitors, so I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right one with you. With that being said, I want to also bring to your attention that in 2025, right, over 93% of healthcare organizations that have been surveyed, they've all experienced at least one cyber attack. So this buttresses my earlier statement that the OR is no longer alone in the forest. It's connected to every root, every branch, and every leaf of the healthcare system. Now that we've stepped into the forest, we're going to look at how the perioperative journey unfolds along this path. And just as every path in the forest connects to another, so too does the perioperative journey, from pre-op to intra-op to post-op. Each one is carrying its own risk and its own rewards. Get right here. I jumped one. Okay, now we're going to look at the perioperative path. Now that we've entered the forest, let's walk its pathways. We call this the perioperative journey. This is where every stop from pre-op to post-op to like carries both opportunity and exposure. In pre-op, data begins flowing long before the first incision, before the first cut. We have scheduling systems, we have consent forms, we all have connected devices. These all help prepare patients and teams. During intra-op, in this operating room, those systems converge. Anesthesia machines, imaging, surgical robots, they all communicate in real time, creating both precision, but also they also create interdependence. In post-op, monitoring continues as data move from the operating room to recovery. The EHR, electronic health records, and sometimes even to patient mobile apps. Each of these transitions introduces a new digital dependency, a ripple effect. Should one falter, so would others. And with them, again, we have new vulnerabilities. As I was mentioning, if one segment fails, whether it's in pre-op, intra-op, or post-op, let's say a corrupted patient monitor or an inaccessible health record, it can ripple across the entire continuum of care. Now, let's step inside the heart of the environment. We're going to step into the operating room itself, and we're going to see the technologies that keep it alive and keep the patients alive. Okay, and here we go. This is little red Skywalker sitting right there with her hood on. Now, technology amplifies healing, but unguarded technology, it also invites harm. I guess we would have like Peter Parker, Uncle Ben said to Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, as we've arrived at the heart of the forest, the operating room itself, where the tools of precision surgery also form, this is our digital frontier. Every device here has a purpose. Anesthesia machines that sustain life, monitors that translate vitals into real-time data, infusion pumps that deliver medication with micro accuracy. Surgical robots and navigation systems bring unmatched precision, but they also depend on secure connectivity. We have intraoperative imaging, CTs, MRIs, ultrasound. These feed continuous data streams that must stay accurate, confidential, and uninterrupted. Even communication systems used within the OR, wireless headsets, tablets, shared displays, they all are and have become nodes in our new digital ecosystem. Each one of these tools, as I said, they improve outcomes when protected, but a single breach or malfunction can turn precision into paralysis or even something worse. So, with this level of integration, it is no wonder the OR has become one of the highest value targets for cyber threats in healthcare. Now that we understand the tools that we use within it, we're going to take a quick look at why this particular battleground, right? Why the OR? What attracts the big bad wolf's attention? What makes Darth Vader so interested in Little Red Skywalker? Here's our answer here. Why the OR? Again, it isn't just valuable, it's vulnerable by design. Why? Because somebody saying something? Okay. The OR isn't just valuable, it's vulnerable by design because it cannot stop. Inside the operating room, every system we depend upon for patient care, guess what? It has double duty. It serves not only as a digital asset, but it also serves as a potential target. The OR is the nexus, right? It concentrates all critical patient care in one of the most time sensitive environments in healthcare. Lives depend upon uptime, they depend upon reliability. Downtime isn't just inconvenient, downtime can be life threatening. The OR makes the OR a magnet for ransomware, espionage, supply chain compromise. According to IBM's 2025 report, it lists healthcare breaches as one of the most expensive globally, averaging almost $11 million per incident. When a single system, surgical system stalls, care delays cascade. Anesthetics, imaging, vitals, everything comes to a halt. Everything pauses. We're looking at real-time operations upon which we depend upon. The OR runs on seconds, and attackers know this. 93% of healthcare organizations suffered at least one cyber attack this year, according to Ponyman 2025. Globally, IBM found that the average breach cost rose up to 4.88 million. When downtime isn't an option, this is where ransom becomes leverage. Attackers, hackers, threat agents, bad guys, whatever name you want to give them, they know that you do not have time to compromise. You do not have time to barter with them because lives are on the line, and they count upon that. I can hit Equifax. I can wait Equifax out. Equifax can wait me out, and we can decide when we're going to pay, if we're going to pay. But in the operating room, that's not the luxury we have. Every minute of surgical downtime delays care and it amplifies risk. We have PHI, patient health information, right? And we have processes. Healthcare remains one of the most expensive industry for breaches. Again, as I mentioned, $10.93 million per incident. That's why the wolf hunts them, right? That is one of the main reasons why the wolf goes there. And with today's environment, we not only have the hackers who attempt to exploit, right? Because a credit card transaction, a single credit card number, it may can go for like $10 on the dark web, something of that nature. But for PHI, for names, dates of birth, social security numbers, all of that information that can give me access, that can give me anonymity, that can give me care, that will go for 10 times that easily on the dark web. And guess where I get all of that information from? It's packaged for me right there in the hospital. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but spoiler alert, hospitals do not have the most advanced equipment when it comes to cybersecurity. They can't do. They can't afford to right now. Well, they can't afford not to, but they don't have the R&D budgets of the Equifaxes, of the eBays, the PayPals, the Lockheed Martins, the defense and contracting agents. They don't have those pockets. And attackers depend upon that. And that is what they count on, and they go in there and grab it. We also look at it interconnected. Every new integration creates another doorway, right? And here's the one thing that I like to say a lot of the times. In being a defender, right? Protecting networks, right? Or ethical hacking, or however you want to look at it, I have to be on point. I have to be on my guard 100% of the time. I can't miss, right? That's kind of like one well-aimed gun, one well-aimed bullet, right? Again, if it hits me, I'm out the game. But for an attacker, he can launch 1,000 volleys against me. He or she only has to be successful once. And that is what they count on. And every time we add a new feature, we create a new functionality, we call that exposure factor. And guess what? That increases. That's something else that we now, being king of the hill, have to defend against. And this is one of the reasons why we're going to look at later how we speak about segmentation and access governance to control and close these doors through which the wolf can walk. As I mentioned earlier, again, attackers go where disruption cuts the deepest. I go where I can get the most bang for my buck. Where patient lives and trust intersect, and again, as I said earlier, or outages, they ripple through the entire system. And attackers know this. So, with that being said, we're going to look at how the wolf shows up in our own forest, right? In our own operating rooms. We've now seen where we've talked about where he hunts, but now we're going to watch how he moves across the globe and across healthcare networks. Here we're going to address some encounters with the wolf. Okay, for Little Red Riding Hood, here's our little catch in here. Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have, right? The wolf's footprints are global. Its tactics evolve faster than our defenses. For every time we build a better mousetrap, we get a smarter mouse. The wolf doesn't just lurk in fairy tales. We've seen it in real world. We've seen it hit us. In 2024, perfect example last year, Change Healthcare. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us heard about Change Healthcare. Guess what? They were hit by a ransomware attack and it rippled through the entire care delivery chain. Doctors, everybody was affected. Again, pause, everything hit, stalling billing, pharmacy services, nothing became available nationwide. Now, this single ransomware event, right? It crippled billing, it crippled scheduling nationwide. And this is proof that the wolf, again, he doesn't just need to strike the OR by itself directly, he can hit next to it. But it also demonstrates my point is that we have a dependency on external ecosystems. We're going to jump back a little bit and go 2 years earlier. We have the NHA ransomware event, right? In that, excuse me, the UK faced a similar ransomware assault. Thousands of surgeries were canceled across the country, right? Ransomware has become nearly a quarter of all breaches globally. And 61% of healthcare organizations report direct patient care impact, according to Ponemon. Across Europe and Asia, guess what? We got another one. We have supply chain. They're also in there, right? Supply chain breaches hit third-party vendors hard. The same wolf, but it's wearing a different mask. I don't have to go through your training. I don't have to go through your firewalls. I don't have to go through your points. I don't have to go through any of that if you let me into your house willingly. If you invite me in, if you bring in a piece of equipment that is compromised and that I'm already sitting in it, guess what? It's kind of like everyone heard of the Trojan horse, right? And this is the same thing. You're inviting me in. If anything, you probably paid for me to come there. And I'm getting there because I've compromised it. With that being said, we have 44% of organizations, they suffered vendor breaches. 87% of those affected patient care. And 32% of those, guess what? It increased mortality rates. The wolf can also wear a vendor's badge. So it is not just out there in the bad guys, but a wolf can come through your vendor. And that's why we're going to talk about later policies and all of this stuff, third party risk, vendor management, making sure if you don't require multi-factor authentication, if you don't background check your employees, why am I going to let you into my organization and have access to my sensitive data and that I put all my employees through this training and you're doing none of it yourself? We are held responsible. Each of these attacks that I mentioned, they didn't just target systems. They delayed care, they strained teams, and they tested patient safety itself. They affected patient outcome. So again, as we're getting ready to go through the forest, we're going to look at how do these wolves find their way in. We're going to follow the trails that they leave behind, the digital pathways that connect every corner of our OR ecosystem. We're going to trace their path through our own forests, the network trails that connect every room, every device, and every patient. Here we go. This is us going through the trails. Our forest is only as safe as the paths we control. Now, everyone remember in the story of Little Red Riding Hood, right? The mom told her, hey, you go along this path, you do not stray to the left, you do not stray to the right, you go straight to grandma's house. Don't stop to talk to strangers or anything. Guess what? And those are the things that we do. But again, if we don't abide by them, then this is where the enemy comes in. If the wolf reaches the village, but it's because he has found a path. If he gets to where he needs to get to, it is because he has found a way in. And we're going to look at the trails right now: phishing, segmented networks, outdated IT devices, data exfiltration. These are some of the ways that the wolf gets his way in. One of the biggest ones that everyone is familiar with. Who's familiar with phishing campaigns, right? Who's had a phishing test, all right? Everybody loves security for those because I get love letters and stuff at work because they appreciate when they have to go to remediation training, right? So, but these are still one of the remaining of the leading ways that attackers enter clinical systems. And it becomes a little bit more difficult now because guess what? We got the big 800-pound gorilla in the room, AI. When we used to have, gone are the days of the bad, poorly grammar, misspelled emails that we would come in that would say fish, fish, fish. Now they're pretty much good. I can train my system, my AI system, by getting a couple of emails from your company, from your team members, and it can analyze the way that you speak, and I can send a convincing enough email to where you think, guess what? It is from me. And guess what? I got you. And not only that, but we look at phishing, we also look at credential theft, or even credential theft, we think of default passwords. As it was mentioned earlier, I've been doing this for a few years, but the times that I have walked up on devices that are in production that have default username and passwords. I mean, seriously, you Google Cisco router password, and it's admin or admin1234. You type it in, and it works. Why? Because someone didn't change it. Or we have other systems that we go through where vendors make it hard to change it or difficult to change it. Every default password, it comes a trail of breadcrumbs. And globally, 68% of our breaches, guess what? They involve stolen or weak credentials. This is why credential management becomes important. But once we get inside, once the attacker gets inside, you know what my other favorite thing is? Unsegmented networks, right? They allow us to move laterally from an imaging server to a pump, from an admin console to the EHR. Now, what is segmentation? That is like if I go into your house, right? And I don't care if you have doors, right? If you have an open floor plan, right, and I can go from your living room to your bedroom to your bathroom, but there are no doors. Hopefully you got doors in your bathroom, but if you don't, but anyway, I can go from one room to the other room with just unrestricted. That is pretty much just that's an open network, not segmented, right? But if I put doors on those and it becomes segmented, the activities that take place in one room are contained in that room. But what I mean by completely unsegmented networks are networks that are not locked down. There is no, basically, you got doors, but there's no lock. I can walk straight into your house and I can go right in, door or not, right? I can go straight into your kitchen. I can go straight into your bedroom. I can go to any house that you have. That's what we mean by unsegmented networks. Once I compromise and get into your network, if there are no controls that stop me from going from network A to network B, EHR systems are on this network, and then your guest network for employees or for hospital visitors to get on the network, free Wi-Fi, right? It's on this network, but there's nothing that stops the two from talking to each other. and someone knows what they're looking for, I'm there. That is very attractive to us. And this stresses what I mentioned about network segmentation and also threat hunting. But that's how long 61% of these patient impacted involve lateral movement. And IBM actually wrote that the average breach remains undetected for 294 days. That's almost 8 months. Think about it. Imagine if you had somebody in your house. I'm not paying rent. You can't figure out where all your food is going in the refrigerator. I'm just walking in at odd times, just taking food out, but I'm in your house for 8 months before you even know it. Think about it. That's how long an attacker is obviously in the network, up to 8 months. And these are some things we have to think about. And this stresses the importance of network segmentation, and it also stresses the importance of threat hunting. Threat hunting is my going looking for you. I'm actively looking for you. I'm not only just locking the doors, network segmentation and stuff of that nature, but I'm going through at periodic times and I'm looking through each room to see if anybody is there. That is actively threat hunting. And then we look at mapping. For the networks that do control and monitor and map their networks and they have the segmentation in there, it reports that 64% of those organizations recover faster. And like I said, seeing the forest is half the battle. You need to know where you're looking at and where you're coming from. And this is where we have proactive SOC. That's the department that watches over your network, Security Operations Center. And this is where their visibility shortens containment time. The next issue we have is many IoT devices, right? They still run outdated software, making them easily to become footholds. And not only your IoT devices, but what about your OT devices, your operational technology, those infusion pumps? And it is understood, everyone, that you can't exactly update a sensitive device like that every time an update comes out, right? Because it's hundreds of lines of code. I'm thinking right now, give me a second. But there's this one guy, just to give you a threat, but his name is Jay Radcliffe back in 2011. He attended this hackers event, and it's called DEF CON. But basically, he was a diabetic patient. But he went to DEF CON and he hacked his Medtronic pump just to prove that he could administer himself a lethal dose should he decide to. But the proof of concept is the fact that if he can do it, so can other people. So this really relies on the point that we really need to make sure and check what we're looking at. The next issue we have is data exfiltration. As I talked about, it takes almost someone can be within your network for up to almost 8 months without being noticed. Now, imagine if I'm in your network for almost 8 months without being noticed. Imagine the amount of data I can actually get out of your network. We call that data exfiltration. You don't know what I've taken out of there, and that's if I'm taking something out of there. Or again, that's hackers, right? I want to get something in there, set ransomware, I want to extort you. But what if we got what we call cyber terrorists, right? Those are the bad guys. Those are the guys, and not to incite fear into anyone right now, but this is just a possibility in the world that we live in. What if someone hacks these medical devices, right? What if I change a setting on a pump? What if I get a pump, as I just mentioned with Jay Radcliffe, to deliver too much medicine and it's not even noticeable? And we end up kill or harming a patient that way. These are all things we need to look at. And then we have shadow Wi-Fi, right? Unauthorized devices and rogue access points. Guess what? Oh, I love unsecured wireless networks, right? Because I don't have to do anything. I can go straight in because someone has left the door open for me. This is a shortcut. And this is where physical media and policy enforcement come into play. So, in a connected OR, what I want to stress is that every device on the network is a potential trailhead. And unless we close those paths through segmentation, through patching and monitoring, guess what? We're just leaving the door open. Now, we've seen the trails and we've seen the traps. And outside of what we've kind of discussed a little bit, what happens when we miss those signs and the wolf finally attacks? Let's see the impact it could have when it actually reaches the door. And let's face what happens when the wolf finally steps in out of the shadows, right? This is in addition to the insulin pump, that I just mentioned to you. We talked about this, but here's the cost of those consequences, right? This is what it looks like when the wolf wins. Remember, as being a cyber defender, and again, all of you are part of it. You are the little red Skywalkers, right? You're part of it. It's not just people in my role or people who have jobs similar to mine. So it's not just us. I mean, we play a part, but I'm more of a well with all the hair I have on my head. You can consider me like a Yoda, right? Because I have a lot of hair and I got the little cute ears too. So consider me like Yoda, right? Or Obi-Wan Kenobi because of all the gray I have in my beard. But I'm not the main character. All of you are, and this is what we're relying on you. Now, when we look at this, what happens? What's some of the impact? We get halted surgeries, right? 72% of attacked healthcare organizations, they reported patient care disruption. Globally, healthcare breaches, again, they cost almost $11 million each, the highest of any industry, according to IBM. We have not only just surgery halted, but guess what? That results in, guess what? Delayed care to our patients. 54% saw more complications, 53% longer stays, 29%, remember, higher mortality rates. Basically, the true cost of this is human patient outcomes. Financial loss. Again, we talked about the average breeze cost, but guess what? You have another 1.2 million in downtime. Again, IBM said the global average is 4.88 million, but our sector doubles that in healthcare. But as I mentioned, the true cost is in the operating room because you can't put a price on life, and time is life where seconds matter. If I can't transport a heart because, hey, the machine is not up or the machine kept it at the wrong temperature, again, clinics now, we have to keep medicines at a certain temperature and we rely on alerts when there's a deviation. What happens when a hacker gets in there and changes it, right? So it doesn't alert when it should alert and the temperature goes way above threshold. And now we've just lost all of this potential life-saving medicine. What happens? Ultimately, like I said, healthcare has led all industries in breach costs for 14 years. So this is something, again, remember, we're 5 years behind. This is why attackers target the OR first. This is why the wolf strikes. And according to IBM's cost of a data breach report in 2025, 29% saw higher mortality rates. And I keep stressing that. Downtime from these incidents costs an average of 1.2 million per event, but the true price, remember, is counted in delayed procedures and lives placed at risk. Again, patient outcomes. Now, not all doom and gloom, everyone, okay? We can do better, right? We can get through this, and this is where we think about it. Every story, right, has a turning point. We've seen Little Red Riding Hood, how she was warned, how she went through the forest and stuff. Again, and this story right here, we're no different. Now let's see what happens when the woodsman strikes back. Because who saved Little Red Riding Hood? Was it the woodsman? There we go. Let's see how we do it right here. Now, the woodsman went at the wolf with an axe, right? Depending on which version of Red Riding Hood you heard, right? Some of it gets a little graphic. But he had an axe. What is our axe? Our axe is readiness. Our shield is awareness, and preparation is how we strike back. I mentioned earlier, we talked about governance, how I talk about policies and risk and ownership, right? They guide the path. Again, policies. Little Red Riding Hood's mom told her, hey, go straight here, do this, do that, don't do this, and don't do that. 59% of healthcare organizations now conduct annual incident response drills. Again, preparedness, policies, governance. 63% of those organizations, guess what? They are using AI within their operations. But of that 63%, it's reported that only 28% have mature governance programs. Do you think it's really safe to use AI if you don't have any form of governance? Right? I
No.
mean, what happens when again, if people put within AI, right? Again, you
No,
could have a breach. You could have a breach because I can upload someone's patient history in there. Or these large language models, what happens if I corrupt these models and stuff? And you're querying it for a diagnosis, but I've already tempted or tampered with the database and I give you the wrong diagnosis. We've already seen right now, who is it? This is not healthcare related, but uh, oh man, it's a cyber firm, consultancy firm, but basically they had to return so much money back to the government because they were caught using AI and was giving faulty data. Can't recall it right at the top of my head. But the point is, this new gap, this is your AI wolf in the machine, right? So AI can help, but it also can hinder, and it shows why governance is the woodsman's axe. We have to decide how we're going to use it. We're not going to run from it, right? But we want to say, hey, we're going to use it, but this is how. We've talked about technical controls, segmentation. I mentioned segmentation earlier, MFA, patching, continuous monitoring. Everybody's comfortable with what MFA is, multi-factor authentication? Okay, cool. Organizations using MFA and segmentation, guess what? They saw 64% fewer patient care disruptions, according to Ponymon. Those with AI-enabled defenses, they saved over $2 million per breach. Why? Because it shut down it shortened the containment time, right? Or the detection time, right? Operationally, again, we go with tabletop drills and incident playbooks. All right, we talked about rehearse performance. It doesn't make sense if we have an event and everyone's panics and everyone's trying to figure out who does what. I call that organized chaos. So when we do have an event, we need to know how to respond. How do we react? What are the roles, right? Who's going to do what and when are they going to do it? If I shout fire, right, and everybody rushes at the door at the same time, guess what? How do you think we may all get out, but chances are there are going to be some people that are hurt, right? Because they're going to trample each other trying to get out. But when we say, hey, if there's a fire, we have fire drills, right? Everyone gather here, everyone goes out this exit, these people go out that exit, and we all meet up here. We've established what we're going to do, and it reduces chaos in the time of the serious event. And we also practice. And that's where preparedness comes in. This is how we strike back before the wolf returns or before even the wolf gets here. And as I mentioned earlier, AI organizations, they save $2.2 million per breach on average. Now that the forest is calmer, right? So I've talked everyone down a little bit. We don't think it's as despondent as I mentioned earlier. The heroes, these little red Skywalkers, right? We now have to learn to carry the lesson home. How do we make awareness part of who we are? This is where, oh, now I'm going Skywalker. This is where the Jedi path begins. This is where we start developing the Force. And again, that force is within you. I call it awareness is the force within each clinician, each perioperative technician. Empowerment starts with awareness, and awareness spreads faster than fear. In my organization, again, as I mentioned earlier, we have policies in place. We talk about procedures and guidelines, and we make sure that we don't try to scare anyone. Because again, I much rather you embrace what I'm telling you than for you to panic and again do something. Start running back to your desk when you see me coming down the hallway. 68% of global reaches involve the human element. That's why force we need is awareness. We have phishing. 81% of healthcare breaches stem from the user error or phishing. Training turns this instinct into a shield. If you see something, say something. A quick report can stop an incident before it reaches a new patient. A patient. Awareness is contagious, and it is the best way. Protecting, right? 59% plan to increase investment in AI, training, and oversight. And again, future, do not avoid it, but embrace it. But again, governance. Cybersecurity is patient security, and that's the lesson every Jedi learns. But the force doesn't work in isolation. It's strongest when shared. So let's call our allies together for vigilance across the forest. And here we have right here. Our journey doesn't end when the wolf retreats, it continues through vigilance, awareness, and connection. No, not one of us walks alone, and neither should we. No Jedi ever went alone. In healthcare cybersecurity, our strength lies in our shared vigilance. 68% of healthcare organizations plan to expand cybersecurity awareness programs this year. Reporting anomaly early shortens breach response durations by 25% because time is everything when patient care is online. And cybersecurity culture isn't built in isolation. It's built in connection, collaboration, and communication. Every clinician, every technician, every leader plays a part in keeping the OR safe. Vigilance is everybody's responsibility and it's the heartbeat of safety. So now we're getting ready to return to home. We're wrapping up. So as we return home, we're wiser, we're connected, and we're ready to protect those who depend upon us the most, our vulnerable patients. So every story has a moment of return when the lessons of the journey come home. So we've entered the forest seeking safety and we've returned with wisdom, the strength to protect it. The operating room now, because of our knowledge, is safer when technology and teamwork act as one. Awareness must grow beyond compliance. It has to become a part of who we are, our culture. And vigilance, the steady readiness, is what bridges cybersecurity and patient safety. Again, this isn't just about protecting data, guys. It's about protecting people, our patients, our colleagues, and ourselves. Things that we use here, things that we talk about here is the same things you can take home and practice it. So, as we wrap this up, the story of Little Red Skywalker reminds us that courage and awareness work hand in hand. Now, I just want to thank you for walking this path with me. I hope I haven't put anyone to sleep, and I thank you for being part of the guardians who protect the modern OR. So I'm going to turn this back over to you, and I'm gonna
Thank
keep
you.
quiet.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. DeJuan. I am so excited. I love this so much because aside from things that I know, I have learned one or two things that I can also take back to my people and let them know this is what's being done and this is what they can do. And just like you said, I'm sure most people would agree with me, the rate at which people send phishing emails and then some people don't know what it is. You just click on these phishing emails and then that's everything. That's just one click. One click, they have access to it all. I want to say thank you so much for this beautiful presentation. I can't see any questions yet on the screen, but if you have any questions, you can do well by raising your hands. You can take 1, 2, 3 questions before we call it today. Anybody has anything? Nobody?
Sorry,
Okay. All right.
can I say
Yes.
something?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Nur Hussein. I am a TORG member and I'm also working as the director of the global research team in our organization.
Okay.
To be frank, I'm really fascinated by the presentation because as a peri-operative professional, as an anesthetist, I believe that it is a very hidden problem for most of us because as we are using very sophisticated materials of communication in the operating theater, it has its own bad sides or drawbacks because it could be stolen by someone who is actively working on this matter. So the thing that I always love working for the TORG or in our organization is that it brings us so many fascinating scholars and clinicians like that of today's presentation, Assistant Professor Kennedy. And I would love to say thank you for that because it is a very important topic which really decides about the future of perioperative medicine and patient care, surgical patient care. So I can just summarize the things that have been raised by our presentation today. The risk or the problem is really big challenge because the cyber attack can change the settings of your patient monitor. It can change it, and it can just let you give the wrong medication, and it can also affect the settings of your anesthetic machine. This is really bad, so it should be uh, taken into consideration seriously. So especially you can think of the anesthetic machines that are being deployed to less developed nations like that of African nations, where cybersecurity could be a very big challenge. So it's really important to incorporate how to protect these machines, how to protect these monitors in our curriculum, in our education system. So this could be one of the mitigation strategies, as that has been mentioned by our presenter. Governance and policy is the key. So, having said this, uh, the other one is data exfiltration, or data could be stolen without being noticed for so many years. So someone is being taking the most crucial information of the operation theater or patient data without being noticed, and they can also do so many bad things to our system. And hospitals
Yeah.
can run out of the system. Yeah, that's the problem. So I think it is a very timely and very interesting presentation. So thank you very much. This is what I want to say. Thank you. I'm
Okay.
done.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's very important. I get what you're talking about the mitigation, but I would advise, or I would let the speaker talk about it. I'm not sure if you're very conversant with what he's saying, but for developing world, it's more we have so many drawbacks compared to United States, compared to some part of Europe that are developed and all of that. I get what it's saying that some things are mitigating us having a full grasp of what we're talking about today because of course, government policies and all of that. I don't know if you have anything to say to what he's saying, but I understand what he's saying.
I think, I mean, if he's saying that again, he doesn't have maybe, as I said, the U.S. well medical field is several years behind the current technology, and he's kind of saying that in some of the nations or the countries that aren't as developed, they may be several years behind, so they do not have everything that they have.
Yeah.
But the policies, as I mentioned earlier, can be applied across the board, right? I mean, you can set, hey, these are expectations, these are checklists, these are rules, these are guidelines. This is what we're going to do. We have certain things that are not want to say too independent of technology, but whether they're administrative, whether they're physical, or whether they're technical controls, we can still apply them to reduce or mitigate the risk to our patient, to the patient care, right? It's things that, hey, we can check this or we can check that, or even to the point of making sure who has access to this, right? We call chain of custody. Who's the last one that accessed it? What did you do with it? Was it out of your care? Was it out of your control? Or let's shorten our checklist. Like I said, technology wise, we have our monitoring systems, our temperature controls, and stuff of that nature. Well, if you don't have that technology, again, and you want to make sure that you mitigate the risk, but you still have medicines that you have to keep that are temperature sensitive, then guess what? How do we set up a policy and a procedure that we monitor and check that, whether, like I mentioned, analog, right? We still go through and try to address it. The main thing we want to hit definitely is, as I said, the Woodsman's Acts, and that's just that preparation, right? So we don't have all the bells and whistles that some of the more developed countries may have, but also remember I also said with all those bells and whistles, there comes more exposure, right? There's more ways for the wolf to get in. There's more ways or more vulnerabilities to be exploited, and more ways that patient care can be impacted. So there's trade-offs, right? Uh, I get this, but guess what? Now I got to worry about that. So what is that risk benefit analysis? So, I mean, again, I do understand, but I'm just saying it can go both ways, right? So we can get the benefits, but we can also you can get the problems that come along with it.
Mhm. Thank you so much. That caps everything I want to say as well. Do we have anybody else? One more question before we round this up. A question? Okay.
I just have a
I want to.
comment. Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for that insightful presentation. In fact, it's a privilege to actually have you do this session with us. Thank you for sharing relevant knowledge. In this contemporary society, everything is actually going digitalized more, and we need to know more about cybersecurity and how to actually prevent this from happening. It happened recently in HSA, even in Ireland. It's caused a lot of disruption, as you said, from billing, scheduling to a lot of things. You know, patient care is disrupted, and one needs to actually look into this. Another challenge is, I think maybe if you have another time, you could come back to us and maybe we have another session because it's a big field. I
yes.
think we need like an online workshop on how to recognize phishing emails because I've seen this recently that someone had to send me a message privately and say, oh, he actually got this message from one of the leaders in TORG, whereas that leader hasn't sent any email as such. And we had to trace it and actually see that, oh, this is not, it doesn't even look like the way our emails look like. You know what I mean? It's not related to the website or anything. And now, nowadays, people might just click on anything. They wouldn't really have time to verify. Maybe the younger ones might actually know how to recognize phishing emails, but the upcoming one, the older generation, people in low and middle income countries as well, we need to know samples of what phishing emails look like. I mean, is this regional? Is this from the organization? Is this something, for example, even in my own email, sometimes maybe because my email is kind of public in some places, you could go back to that email and see like 20 emails requesting for one or two things, asking you to do this, asking you to do that. And whereas when you trace it, doesn't even look human. I mean, it looks like something from a machine. So I think we need to look into that and have a way of having a workshop, even if it's online, could be a 2-hour session intensive on how to recognize these things. And another thing, we have an extensive community. For example, on WhatsApp, sometimes we have several admins, and when one person's phone number gets compromised, it becomes an issue. You see, like settings, a lot of these applications, they're upgrading their security features, maybe to allow to say, oh, turn on this, to allow admins only to make changes, to send messages, to do this and do that. So I think we also need to know how to do multi-factor authentication properly, because some people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to do it on their social media handles, and an extensive network like ours, where we've got thousands of members, it becomes an issue when someone becomes compromised and becomes like an entry point for all the scammers and all of those things. It's got at some point, I think like 5 years ago, one of our systems got hacked and we had to pay heavily a company from Singapore to restore everything, files, data of every professional. And in the organization, you know, like we work with professionals more. If anything happens, you could be in jail. One could be in jail because of GDPR issues. Nothing should be compromised. And we had to actually pay heavily to get that restored from Singapore. So I think we need more sessions like this so that one person doesn't become a loophole in the organization. Everyone is aware and everyone knows what to do if it happens, and everyone knows how to report appropriately. So that is just a request. If you don't mind, if you could come back and do another session for us, we would be delighted to have you on. And another thing I would like to say, if you could just, because I know there are people joining us on YouTube, because we are streaming this live and we are recording this session as well. If you could just take a minute or two to talk about your company, what you do, there could be people, there could be institutions that might want to reach out to you. This is an opportunity for you as well. I know we didn't talk about this, but it's just, let's give back to you as well. If you can just talk about your company, what you do, how people can reach out to you, even institutions that want to do protection or security for their database and all of those things, how they can reach out to you. So if you don't mind, if you can just say that in 2 minutes, that would be great. Thank you so much.
No, not a problem. And again, it is my privilege and an honor to assist Torg or the operating room in any way possible. Again, as I mentioned earlier, my company is Cartereo Security. I am a consulting. I am the founder and the chief consultant. With that, one of the things that we do is just what I'm doing right now. We do awareness trainings. We love to educate. We are there to help to develop those policies, those procedures, those guidelines, to give you that template, that foundation to apply that architecture to your framework, so that you can operate and do your business more effectively. Right? We help develop those incident response plans. Training, like you mentioned, also the phishing campaigns, right? The phishing awareness. Our bread and butter, again, is the love of teaching. As I mentioned with you this morning, we love sharing, and one of the rules of Cartereo is persistence, it's dedication, it's commitment to protecting what matters to you the most, and that is what we want to do. So our website is www.cartereosecurity.com, and it can redirect you to cartereoconsulting.com. You can reach to that website, can reach out there and put a request to me. I'll definitely open and listen to you. Also, again, reach out to me, especially on LinkedIn, if you need to reach out to me. And again, I will be more than excited and honored to help you address any of your cybersecurity questions or needs or challenges that you may be experiencing. Again, the whole point is just to we arrive there together. We want to make sure everyone is safe and secure, right? So that's the main goal for us. That's my mission. That's what drives me. I want to make sure everyone is safe and everyone is secure and everyone is knowledgeable. And as you mentioned also, if you can't really, because we can't prevent. I mean, there's no way that we can just prevent any attacks. So with that being said, my next thing is making sure that we recognize, that we identify, that we contain, and we reduce the impact of those events that should help to happen.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I don't know if the presidency has one or two things to say before I conclude this. I don't think she does. Okay, so I want to say thank you once again for everything. This is a great topic, and I just want to add, especially for low and middle income countries, please let's also remember it's not just about computers. Some of us might not be there yet, but when you need to discuss with something about a patient, if you need to discuss it and its importance, remember where you are and just don't talk about the patient, especially to people that don't really need to know this patient's information. We have to be aware of this as well. With this, I want to say thank you for everyone, or to everyone that joined from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Ethiopia, from South Africa, United States, United Kingdom, Ireland, from Zambia, from everywhere, Sierra Leone. Thank you so much. And just like the president said, we would be bringing him back again, and we're going to have an extensive training. We hope when we beckon on you, sir, you answer us. All right, with this, I want to say a great thank you for the last time. And also my co-chair was not, I'm trying to read the message. Sorry. My co-chair was not able to join us today because it's raining where he is and his network has been funky. So he says hi to everybody and he's doing fine as well. With this and with no other question, I want to say bye to everyone. I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day. And if it's night where you are, whatever it is, I hope you do enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.